enough grounds to take a life.
No. I disagree with you because look, if you do not legalize it, people will go to plan protest anyway, who might end up not just kill the baby, but the mother as well.
Why should I waste my time joining a long queue under the hot sun to vote for a political party, knowing very well that nothing would be achieved at the end of the day?
Something will be achieved. It's your civic responsibility to turn out to vote. Vote and vote for a good leader.
Governments need to cater to every graduate, diversify the economy, invest in other sectors.
But the government cannot do it all. That is why we need the youth to take up the mantle and set up their own businesses. That is how we will create economic viability.
Here on Opposing Views, we take your views, my views, and the views of the experts and put them in the right context for you, our discerning viewers.
And good morning, welcome to MX24 News, coming to you live from East Legon at the Silicon Square here in Accra. My name is Godwin Nambo. Now, today in the news, minority in parliament say they support government's decision to deal ruthlessly with the secessionists. Parliament hastens to pass anti-money laundering bill after Belgian bank ordered Ghana's embassy to close bank accounts. Also in the news, aspirants continue to file nominations for the December 7 polls, who will cross over to the Electoral Commission for more on that. All these and more coming up in the news shortly. And thank you for joining us. In our first story, members of the minority in parliament have pledged their unflinching support for government's decision to deal decisively with the secessionist groups and protect the sovereignty of the country. In his welcome address as the House resumed for its third meeting, the minority leader Haruna Idrisu urged government to deal ruthlessly with the emerging threats to the country's unity and sovereignty. His position was supported by Majority Leader Osei Mensah Bonsu. There is more in this report by my colleague Enes Senanu Dovlo.
Activities of the secessionist movement in the country have reached an all-time high in the last few weeks. The secessionists claim parts of Ghana belong to the Western Togoland, hence their clamor for independence. The movement, which began as peaceful, turned bloody and violent a fortnight ago as the group stormed some police stations in the Volta region, beat up the officers and broke into the armories where they bolted with weapons belonging to the Ghana Police Service. They later turned their attention to unarmed civilians and blocked highways in the region as they chanted for their independence. The stalemate, which lasted several hours, was later brought under control by a joint police and military detail. Despite the arrest of those suspected to have been involved in the acts, minority members of parliament are urging government to deal ruthlessly with the culprits. Minority leader Haruna Idrisu pledged the support of his side to ensure the peace of the country is maintained at all times.
There is an ugly threat to the stability, sovereignty and territory of Ghana in the Volta region. The President, as Commander-in-Chief of the Ghana Armed Forces, be assured that he has the full support of the House to deal decisively, ruthlessly with the threat to the sovereignty and integrity of our country. We cannot afford a disunited Ghana. I'm sure he is campaigning to lead a united country, just as Excellency John Dramani Mahama is campaigning to lead a united country. He should endeavor to uphold the provisions of the Constitution, particularly Article 4, which guarantees the sovereignty of a united Ghana Republic. We will support the President fully as Commander-in-Chief and President of Ghana to contain the imminent threat to the peace, stability of Ghana, and in particular the people of the Volta region. The threats there can be worrying and can undermine the conduct of free, fair elections throughout Ghana and in particularly in that region.
For his part, Majority Leader Osei Mensah Bonsu reminded MPs on the need to be resolute in ensuring those with ulterior motives do not take the nation to the brinks of war.
The Minority Leader has spoken to the unfortunate incidents happening in the Volta region. I don't want to believe that any of us here will buy into that agenda. This country has had a referendum in 1992 and resolves as a nation that we will live together in unity, and we resolve to also protect the stability of this country. The clarion call should go to all of us. It should go to all of us here in assembled as members of Parliament, that collective resolve which happened when we conducted the referendum that approved the 1992 Constitution still holds. And we should not allow any individuals with ulterior motives to take this nation to the brink.
Now, meanwhile, the OT Regional Minister, Kwesi Owusu-Yeboah, has cautioned the Western Togoland separatists to stay away from the region or face their wrath. According to him, the region remains an integral part of Ghana.
Venture into OT region, that we can assure them that our people are ready for them. In fact, they will have to overcome the good people of Uti, civilians, before they will even encounter the security agencies. So we give this assurance so that our people will feel relaxed, will feel at home, that we are on top of security. We are prepared to adopt proactive and preemptive measures. We are not going to wait until there is any serious disturbance. We know, considering our location, if this thing is happening in Volta, then it will seem that we are also vulnerable. But we are saying that we are prepared for them, and we will advise them to stay away from OT region is dreadfully anti-Western Togoland.
Moving on, Parliament will in the coming days pass a new anti-money laundering bill, which will deal with some loopholes in the existing bill. This comes after a Belgian bank recently ordered Ghana's embassy in Belgium to close all of its accounts with them following alleged money laundering. Now, there is more in this report by our parliamentary correspondent, Eko Anan.
Ghana has been listed on two different money laundering blacklists. The first in 2012 by the Financial Action Task Force and the second in 2019 by the European Union. A recent action by the ING Bank of Belgium ordering Ghana's embassy to withdraw all of its money from their bank and cancel all transactions with them has revived a much-needed conversation for the immediate passage of the anti-money laundering bill. Foreign Affairs Minister Shirley Ayokobochi suspects the bank's action was due to the EU's blacklist. Though the chairman of Parliament's Finance Committee, Mark Esibe-Yeboah, disagrees with this suspicion, he says the bill is in its final stages and will address the EU's issue when passed.
We have been asked to close the account on account of this Ghana being placed on the EU's anti-money laundering. So if that were the case, if that were the case, how about the embassy in the Netherlands, in France? They are all in the EU zone. Do you understand? So if that is the case, then we should see the wind blow across all our consulates in the Union. Okay, so that we are not clear about. But Ghana recognizes that there are loopholes in our anti-money laundering law. As we speak, there's a new anti-money laundering bill. That is before the Finance Committee. I'm sure you see it in the votes. It was referred to the Finance Committee on the last day, the 14th of August. We worked on it the past weekend. And so in the coming days and weeks before Parliament rises, after this 5-week meeting, we'll have a new anti-money laundering law, which is tighter, which is stricter, and which will address the concerns of the European Union.
He explained the reasons for this delay.
Don't rush and bring legislation here for the sake of it. There is FATF recommendations. Okay, Ghana does not operate on its own. We are in the sub-region, and you have to meet with all countries in the sub-region, put together legislation that cuts across. Because, mind you, there's free movement of goods and people in West Africa, and so to the extent that we trade, people will be transferring monies here and vice versa. So if you are crafting legislation, you make sure that what you are doing stands the test of time. So you don't rush and bring such legislation here because somebody is warning you that they are going to place you on a watch.
And that was a report by Ellen Domena. Moving on, some Okada riders in the country have described plans by the opposition NDC to legalize Okada business as hypocritical. According to them, legalizing the Okada will not inure to their benefit, despite assertions by former President John Dramani Mahama that the business has become a means of sustenance for the teeming unemployed youth. My colleague Eko Anan has more on this report.
The commercial motorcycle business, popularly known as Okada, has served as a lifeline for several young men in the country. Despite its ban in 2012 by the former NDC government, the operators have not stopped and they still do get customers using the service. In a bid to revoke the ban on Okada, former President Mahama has promised to legalize the commercial operation of motorbikes when voted into power in the December polls. That proposition has been greeted with mixed reactions from the public. While some describe the move as populist, others insist Okada business has become a major source of employment for the youth. But some Okada riders from Circle, Nima, Mamobi, who followed President Akufo-Addo to submit his nomination forms, have kicked against the promise by the former president to legalize Okada. Baba Idrisu is one of them, and he tells MX24 News they need proper jobs and not the legalization of Okada.
Yeah, and person legalizing. Legalization, no. It is throw any taxing drivers. In Shishena, throw taxing drivers. San Shishena, Yadibema motor for anti legalization.
Baba Idris adds that riding motorbikes is quite dangerous, as several of their colleagues have lost their lives in the process.
Miminya, Bebre, Bimako school, Ebia immigration, police, fire service, Nina, Umbet Maya, and Tanya Okada in a pet. And you painting a Okada, a receive job. Bebre, Achomuna, Bebre,
President Mahama, or say Oba, regulate Okada.
Okay, so we who shall see everything go be our best, much. And you say, Okada Jumanu, a risky job, or your legalization, you be who. And just see much Zongo Bebre. And you pay much.
Another rider believes the alternative policies of the NPP to provide them with work and pay vehicles is laudable, rather than legalizing Okada.
As for me right now, I'm fighting for John Mahama because the John Mahama insults us. It's true.
How did he insult you?
Yeah, because of you. You said that you legalize the Okada.
Baumia said happy that he's going to legalize Okada.
Baumia said that if MPP come, they will give us a car. So that we do work and pay. We like it. See, as for me, I'm standing here. If I reach 60 years or 50 years, how can I ride on Okada?
A report by my colleague Eko Anan. You're watching MX24 News. We'll be right back after this commercial break.
Opinions are like onions. Everybody has one.
Abortion is a no-no. As a human being, you must take responsibility for all your actions and inactions. Your misjudgment shouldn't be enough grounds to take a life.
No. I disagree with you because look, if you do not legalize it, people will go to black protest anyway who might end up not just kill the baby, but the mother as well.
Why should I waste my time joining a long queue under the hot sun to vote for a political party, knowing very well that nothing would be achieved at the end of the day?
Something will be achieved. It's your civic responsibility to turn out to vote. Vote and vote for a good leader.
Governments need to cater to every graduate, diversify the economy, invest in other sectors.
But the government cannot do it all. That is why we need the youth to take up the mantle and set up their own businesses. That is how we will create economic viability.
Here on Opposing Views, we take your views, my views, and the views of the experts and put them in the right context for you, our discerning viewers.
Can you get gold without digging?
I'm tired of you trying to get rid of me every chance that you get.
My camp is in the trash.
I've worked very hard to get you, Francis, and you know that.
Sleeping with another man on my bed and you're telling me it's not your fault.
Pray I'll never need your services. A perfect world where love doesn't blind all truth.
I'm getting married this weekend.
Touch me. Don't you ever touch me. See you. Have your way with me. You use me as usual. You are.
Hey! Don't!
Are they connected?
I'm not sure. Ubinya uputuma.
Hi there, I'm excited to come your way with football conversations, sports-related conversations, light-hearted, lifestyle-related conversations about the sport that we all love and are passionate about. Make a date with me.
The Bible said that we are not of those who shrink back, but of those who believe to the salvation of the soul. You know, sometimes God wants to do things in circumstances and situations that when people see, they will acknowledge that this is not the effort of man, but this must be the finger of God. So to him, life meant Christ. Life meant living for Christ. Life meant serving Christ. Christ in you, the hope of glory.
ICGC Evangel Temple presents The Kingdom Culture with Reverend Eric Ampofo on MX24. This and every Sunday at 3 p.m. Don't miss out.
And welcome back to MX24 News, coming to you live from the Silicon Square in East Legon, Accra. My name is Godwin Nambo. Moving on, it's day 2 of the ongoing filing of nominations by persons who wish to contest the presidential and parliamentary elections. Our reporter, Efua Evans Chinnery, is at the headquarters of the Electoral Commission to bring us the latest. But before we go to her, here's an interview she had with the NDC parliamentary candidate for Ayawaso Central, Raul Abdul Tubazu, who was at the commission earlier to file his nomination.
Sincerely, we believe that the people of Ayawaso Central feel otherwise. They feel that it's time for Rauf to be their leader, so that Rauf can deliver the development they require, the opportunities the youth require. So I'm very confident that come December 7, I'll be the next MP for Central Ayawaso.
And we're in a new normal where we don't have so much rallies happening. How is your campaign spanning?
So far, so good. I'm battling on the house to house, and the reception we are getting from the people of Ayawase Central indicates that December 7 we are going to be massively voted for.
Just saying that the people want a change is not enough. What are you bringing on board?
Indicated every community is looking for development. We are looking for opportunity for the youth. We are looking for a clean environment. We are looking for security, whereby people can thrive well. That is what we are bringing on.
Abdul Rauf is presidential parliamentary aspirant for the NDC at the Electoral Commission. We'll be speaking to my colleague Efwa, who's live at the Electoral Commission. Efwa, can you hear me? Very well. We seem to be having a technical challenge. We'll be moving on. Now, member of the Committee on Finance, Dr. Mark Esibe Yeboah, is of the view that the special prosecutor will find wrong. I beg your pardon. I beg your pardon, please. Chairman of the Parliamentary Committee of the Finance Committee, Dr. Mark Esibe Yeboah, is of the view that the special prosecutor will find no wrong deed with the Ejapa royalties deal. In September, the special prosecutor, Martin Amidu, called on government to temporarily suspend the launch of an initial public offer on the London Stock Exchange in relation to the Ejapa deal. According to Martin Amidu, his office needs to assess the corruption risk of the deal. However, Dr. Esibe Yeboah clarified that government did not suspend the IPO launch, but made room for the special prosecutor's investigation.
Government has pulled the brakes, but the deal is not off. The deal has not been suspended per se. What has happened is that the Office of the Special Prosecutor has asked for the production of documents and also is conducting a corruption risk assessment to see if government met all the requirements before it launched the IPO. In the face of that, it will be foolhardy to go ahead when such a serious office is conducting a corruption risk assessment. So the people who hold Ghana paper, those who subscribe to our Euro bonds and such, they always stand ready to buy our bonds and such. So I don't think it would have suffered anyway. I have worked on this one. I've followed it religiously, and at no step has there been anything untoward. And so that's why the ministry is even saying that, yes, we are submitting ourselves to your corruption risk assessment. We are not going ahead. If anybody was worried, then they should be trying to push this one through in the face of the corruption risk assessment. But government is saying, yes, go ahead, do whatever you want to do, and then when you are done and satisfied yourself.
Dr. Esibe Yeboah also noted that the special prosecutor's investigation will boost investor confidence in the deal.
To even give more confidence to investors, I'm happy that he has stepped in at this stage to do what he's doing. The law permits him to do what he's doing. The Office of Special Prosecutors Act that was passed by Parliament gives him the mandate to go into matters like this. As to the things the Special Prosecutor does, the manner in which they drag and all that, could be fatal to the extent that government has to run. And then government had programmed that if the inflows from the transaction would have come to hit its balance sheet. Okay, so to the extent that it delays, it drags forever, then it will be hurting government business.
It's day 2 of filing of nominations at the Electoral Commission, and my colleague Efwa is at the Electoral Commission. She'll be bringing us update. Efwa.
Hello.
Hi, Efwa. Can you hear me?
Sure, I can.
Thank you very much. Now, Efwa, tell us what is happening on the ground. What is the latest?
Well, presidential candidates expected here today at the Electoral Commission are yet to make their way here to file their nomination. The PPP presidential aspirant, British Jobanuku, will be here with some executives of her party. The APC's Hassan Ayarika is also expected to do the same, and the NCC's General Secretary, I understand, Joseph Nasiru Kitiel, will file on behalf of the party's flag bearer, John Mahama, who is touring the Western North region. He'll be here as expected with 5 executives of his party. So officials of the Electoral Commission are ready to receive all these candidates who are obviously not here because of the heavy rain.
So John Dramani Mahama will not be present at the Electoral Commission. However, what about their supporters? What is the reaction over there at the Electoral Commission? Do we have people coming to chair their parties on?
Well, it's been raining. It's been raining, so there's nobody here yet. But I'm sure that the supporters will definitely come around to support their candidate.
And did you get a chance to speak with any of the aspirants?
I spoke with the parliamentary candidate.
And
I spoke with the parliamentary candidate earlier when he came in to file with some of his supporters. I did speak with him. I mean, he went through the verification process, which was a little, delayed because obviously they have to make sure that everything in there is accurate. So I spoke with him and he said that he's hopeful that he's going to, win the parliamentary seat because he's the first person to file in
which
his
candidate?
constituency.
Which candidate did you speak with?
That's the NDC's Abdul Rauf.
Oh, that's the Ayawasu Central aspirant, parliamentary aspirant.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that's him.
And his expectations were?
His expectations were that he's going to win the seat because he's the first to file in his constituency.
Right, right. Is there anything else you have for us over there at the Electoral Commission?
Well, it's a little, because it's raining, there's not much happening around here. We are all stuck indoors waiting for the rains to subside. And then we come out to find out what is happening. But we're still waiting for the candidates, the parliamentary and presidential candidates, to come around so that we can speak with them.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you very much, Efua. That was my colleague Efua Chineri at the Electoral Commission. Moving on, the Tamale Metropolitan Assembly has deployed personnel to educate residents on the need to properly dispose of their waste. This follows the displacement of over 1,000 persons following a downpour last Sunday. In an interview with MX24 News, the NADMO director in Tamale attributed the adverse impact of the rains on residents' continuous dumping of refuse in the gutters.
Affected is 522 houses that were affected. In Tamale, the gutters they have constructed, they are very small. Most of the problem is the throwing of dust, garbages, and then people will sweep their houses and whatever, and they are still, Tamale, they are dustbin for them to put, but they will leave the dustbin, come and put it in the gutters. So the gutters were choked. And because the gutters are also small, when they
In the Northern region, residents of Sangnani and Kalpohing in the Sagnarigu municipality are appealing for a reconstruction of the road connecting the town to the capital, Tamale. According to them, navigating the road becomes very challenging, especially when it rains.
You are from town, you say you are going to Sangnani or Kalpohing, they ask you, if it is, are you going passing through the one big one down? If it is that place, then I will go. When it rains like this, people don't like to pass here. So that's how it's affecting the people around here. People, when this happens, nobody would like to stop.
The way that things are going, if they don't come to our aid, it can even...
Let's now take a look at some stories in Africa. Now, the French Parliament voted Tuesday on the possible restitution of art and cultural treasures to Senegal and Benin. The 26 artifacts were taken by France in 1982 during the looting of the Abomey Palace. These treasures are displayed at the Quai Branly-Jacques Chirac Museum in Paris. Our French President Emmanuel Macron promised to rethink the cultural partnership between France and its former African colonies when he visited Ouagadougou in 2017. The French Culture Minister, Roselyne Bachelot, has said that the vote is a new chapter in the cultural link between France and African countries. But the president of Benin, Patrice Talon, says the restitution is too limited and too slow. And before we round up, we would like to say a happy birthday to the Vice President of the Republic, Dr. Mahmoudou Bawumia. Happy birthday from us here at MX24. That's just about it for the news this morning. My name is Godwin Nambo.